Hello everyone, welcome back to MalStorm Gaming. My name is Malachi Gardner, and today I'm very excited to be unboxing the Traps and Treasures expansion for Puzzle Dungeon. I hope you all enjoy the video. So this is the new box that came in the Traps and Treasure Kickstarter, and for reference, I have this retail version of the base game of Puzzle Dungeon, and as you can see, it's very small, and this is not very small. So you can see how they are very different in size. So this is just a much smaller package than this, and this is very big. So if we're going to look at the card counts on the back, so this has 30 heroes, 20 monsters, 32 arsenal cards, and 2 difficulty settings, which just means that out of these 30 heroes, many of them have an easy version and a hard version that both play very differently. So really, in this box of 30 heroes, you have more like 50 heroes when you have the easy and hard heroes distinguished, because their abilities are really very different from each other. And then of course it also has a rulebook. So this little box has a ton of replayability in it, a ton of content. With just 82 cards, this has so much content in it, and it's very amazing. I love this game so much. It is one of my favorites, and I love pulling out and playing it every time. It's just amazing. This box has 400 plus heroes, 88 monsters, 45 Traps and Treasures cards, which is a new card type that I am really excited to try out, and then of course 32 arsenal cards, and then it has rules, checklists, and achievements, so all the stuff that came in this one, except a ton more cards. In the Kickstarter, you do have several different options. You could get just the base game, you could get just the Kickstarter edition of the previous Kickstarter, because which had a lot more heroes than this, or you could get just the new stuff, or you could get everything. And I actually went ahead and got everything because I want to be able to pass this set on to a friend, and that way we can just have even more people playing this amazing game. So that's why I bought an extra base game. So this box should be able to fit sleeved cards, which is going to be really nice, and also is going to have things like dividers, which will allow you to have an easier time sorting out all your cards and setting up the game. So let's just read this real quick. There are too many monsters, and their kings are growing restless. As a brave monster hunter, it's up to you to enter the dungeon, face the terrifying hordes, and destroy them. Don't die. Then we have Brian Garber's little bear avatar, who I think is pretty cool. And then he says it's good, so, well, it must be good. But let's find out for ourselves. Alright, so I just fast forwarded, just skipping all of the really loud, crinkly shrink wrap, and we have the box here, which feels pretty similar to the original box. Let's take off the lid. Oh, we got a nice amount of monsters on the inside here. So we got a lot of packing peanuts in here. Let's keep it safe. Good. Alright, so out. And we have quite a few cards in here. So this is a nice box here. I like it. And again, should be able to fit all the cards sleeved, which is really great. So let's open this up first. So we have a complete game rules. And this looks pretty nice, so I'm just gonna take this out. So the base game has this little pamphlet here that you just fold out like this, and it was okay. Not a huge fan of these little pamphlets. It was very small and fit in the box when you fold it all up, which is nice, but it was just a little bit difficult to read, just because it was just slightly annoying to read, and all of the rules were not the greatest. They were fine, but I had some questions after reading it the first time. Whereas this, I like this. This is a very easy to read. It's got some nice diagrams in here, and everything looks pretty good. The game's still pretty simple, so it only has about 15 pages. 15 pages, and then a page full of icons, which is nice to see. Alright, and then we have this checklist. And this is pretty cool. There's a lot of things here. And the base game had some objectives and checklists and such, but they were in the rulebook pamphlet, but having a separate thing is pretty nice. And we've got some achievements here as well. Oh man. Dungeon Champion, win with 100 heroes, and then win with 200 heroes, 300, 400, and then win with every hero, which is, there's a lot of stuff here. Co-designer, win with each hero 5 times. Wow. Cool stuff. Oh, and then some challenges. So, choke point. During setup, deal the monsters into 2 columns. So just things that will make the game a little bit more tricky. Alright, snakes. Win after starting the game with 3 traps. With 4, with 5, with 6. So, traps are going to be a new card type. And we'll have to see what they do. After reading the rulebook, I think you're going to be able to like apply them to yourself, and it's going to be negative effects throughout the game. If I can remember correctly, might be a little bit different. So this looks like a promo here. It's Brian Garber, the designer. Is this? So it looks like he like drew this himself with like a Sharpie, which is pretty cool. It requires you to defeat 8 of the kings, which would be very hard. So this looks kind of interesting. I do think he drew that himself with a Sharpie. That's what it looks like there. And then it says on this side, defeat each monster to win. Oh my goodness. That would be very, very hard. So this is like a challenge hero. Wow, that'd be very tricky. One thing I will say, I think that that could have been a cool opportunity to have the little bear as a character. So I'm happy with this, obviously. It's pretty cool. But just saying, Brian Garber, if you're watching this, having the bear as a playable character, that'd be pretty neat. Either for Puzzle Dungeon or To the Death or any of your future games. I don't know, we like the bear. Alright, so these look like the dividers. Alright. Heroes, monsters, heroes, monsters, heroes and monsters. So one interesting thing that Brian changed with the set is that the heroes and monsters are all divided into decks that are assigned to each other. So you have the heroes that defeat these monsters, and that is one deck, and then you have these monsters and their heroes that are going to go together like these two. So these monsters and these heroes are going to go together because they have the same symbols, and they're just kind of balanced and play tested to work against each other, but you can mix and match. There's some extra rules for that, and the game might not be as balanced, but you can do that. For example, this is the base game, so most of the base game characters and monsters are going to be here. So that's an interesting idea. Of course, we have our traps and treasures, and then arsenal cards. So having these little dividers will be pretty cool. And okay, you're going to be able to set them like this. So horizontally, that's nice. Yeah, so I like having the dividers. Now we just have a bunch of cards, and I'm not going to go as in depth into all of these. All right, so got a lot of cards, and a lot of these are fan made. In fact, most of these are probably fan suggested things. Warhammer Marine, I suppose. I don't really know that much about Warhammer, but I do recognize that. So some of them are double-sided and have a normal and then a difficult version. Some of them just have the one side. So there's plenty of different characters, and of course you're going to be using one of these each game, and that's kind of crazy. There's just so much you're going to be able to use, so many different characters you're going to be able to use, and playing through all of these would be impressive and would take a long time. Even though the game only takes like 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, but still, that's a lot of time to be playing this game. But each of these are just so different. Each of the characters, they play so differently, and I really like that about the game. and that there is so many different characters. Whoops. It's very fun. Ooh, Dragon Sorcerer. Destroyer of Worlds. Looks a bit like Carnage. Wonder if that's probably what they're going for. Maybe. Because most of these are backer suggested characters, you have a really interesting mix of a lot of characters that are pretty serious, but then you also have a ton of ridiculous characters, which is fun. Some people might not like that. Hardcore Gamer, Gambler. A lot of stuff. And again, these are all double-sided, so they're either going to have a different character on the back or just a harder version. So I'm not even looking through all of the characters, basically. This character is interesting because it's double-sided, but it is the same character, so you're going to be flipping it as you play, almost like in Marvel Champions. Looks like these are all base characters here. Alright. So now we're getting down to some monsters. So we have the base characters, the base monsters here. A lot of the cards from the base game are going to have updated card abilities, just to clarify things, which is nice. So we have some, it looks like game pieces. Monsters. The cosplayers, I think. Alright. Ooh, water. So, just a little question for all of you. So tell me in the comments below which character is your favorite, as well as which monster group is your favorite. Even if you only played the base game, just even out of those, which is your favorite monster group and which is your favorite character. I'd love to hear what you all think. And I'm looking forward to trying all of these out. Alright, got the Arsenal deck. So nothing too interesting here, although I do like using the Arsenal deck. Okay, this is different pictures here for the zeros, which is kind of nice. Whoops. I do really like the Arsenal deck. I think it's a really cool deck that you're able to have in multiple games, and is used very differently in those two games, Puzzle Dungeon and To the Death. I'm sure it can be used in many more unique ways. So these look like the traps and treasures here. So on one side, I think this is the trap, and then this is the treasure. And if I remember, you're going to, I think it's when you defeat a monster with this type. When you defeat a monster of this type, you're going to use the ability, which in this case is, if there are 2 or fewer monsters in this column, reveal each king in this column. And then I think after you resolve that, you're going to flip it over to its treasure side, and you can use this ability once per game. It says deal a card, then draw each card in the arsenal that shares a suit or value with that card. So, little things like that you can use to challenge yourself, which is fun. Give you different ways of playing each character and challenging yourself by adding a lot of traps, or you can just start off with treasures to make things easier for yourself. So adding more flexibility is nice. And it looks like there's going to be like 2 or 3 treasure cards per villain group. So that's, I mean, there's 45 of these, so that's a lot of variety here. So the pet rock says, when we defeat a monster with this symbol, which is the subterranean enemy group. So when we defeat a subterranean enemy, we move any trophy to the front of this column. And then when we flip it over, we can move any monster to this back of its column. I'm assuming it just means to move that monster to the back of its column. Probably a little typo there. Honey. Taco sword. Oh, these are trophies, it seems. So looks, I think these 5 you probably could use with any enemy type. That's what I'm guessing, at least. Well, there's a lot of stuff here, so I'm going to sort all this stuff out and put it away, and I am really looking forward to playing this, and you can definitely expect me to play this again on the channel with some of these new characters and treasures and traps and everything. And then I will hopefully put up a review of the expansion, just to let you all know what I think of all the different traps and treasures, expansion content, as well as all the Kickstarter stuff that I did not have access to when I first reviewed the game. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful to you. And if you're still awaiting your copy of the game, I hope this is getting you excited for the day when your copy arrives. And I hope you all will consider subscribing to MalStorm Gaming if you aren't already, and please like this video and share it with some of your friends if you think they'd be interested. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a great day and happy gaming!